gotta focus on yourself, on your faith, on your dreams, on your mind, on your health, yeah. You gotta work, never tell, keep your head down, find what you love and excel, yeah.
I finally got my hands on the OPPO Find X9s Pro, and honestly, this was the phone I wanted to test the most. It even excited me more than the Find X9 Ultra. Why? Because Ultra phones already offer more than I actually need. What really matters is how a phone performs in everyday use. The biggest highlight here is the brand new dual-wing imaging system, and that's exactly what we'll be putting to the test today. Right now, there isn't another phone with a truly comparable setup. Some Ultra models sit above it, while others, like my friend's Honor Magic 8 Pro Air, fall below it in imaging. So throughout this review, I'll compare these two and show you exactly what this new camera can really do. But before we dive into the camera, there are two things I don't love about this phone. First is the display. It's a Chanma panel, and I don't have any problem with Chanma itself. If this phone cost around 3,000 to 4,000 yuan, I'd say it's perfectly fine. But at over 5,000 yuan, and some versions even above 6,000, I honestly expected OPPO to include a better screen. Today's flagship phones from Xiaomi, Huawei, and Honor have all stepped up their displays, even on their standard and Pro models. OPPO and Vivo, however, still seem to save their best screens for the Ultra versions. Hopefully that changes with future generations. The second weakness is something longtime OPPO and Vivo users probably already know: the stereo speakers. They're decent, but nothing special. Huawei, Honor, and Xiaomi consistently offer stronger speaker performance across their flagship lineup. It's not a deal breaker, but once you've heard great stereo speakers, it's hard to settle for average ones. Big thanks to my tech partner over in China for providing this footage. I really appreciate the support in making this video happen. Hey everyone, Stella here from techiestreet. If you're into staying updated with the newest gadgets, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our latest tech content. Now, enough about that. Let's get to the part you've been waiting for: the dual-wing camera. We'll skip the ultra-wide cameras since they're pretty standard. Instead, we'll compare the main cameras at full resolution. OPPO uses its new dual-wing system, and Xiaomi packs a larger 50-megapixel sensor. So here's the big question: can OPPO's smaller sensor actually match or even beat Xiaomi's bigger one? Our first test is indoors under low light, and the difference shows up immediately. In these conditions, lighting plays a huge role, making the gap much easier to spot. Next, it's time for the telephone cameras. Xiaomi uses a 72mm lens, while OPPO goes with a 65mm. To keep things fair, I adjusted my position so both shots had nearly identical framing. The results are honestly impressive. OPPO's dual-wing camera performs almost neck and neck with Xiaomi. Xiaomi still has a slight advantage around the edges, but OPPO's image processing is incredibly polished. Considering Xiaomi is already known for excellent camera performance, that's a very strong showing. Now it's time for another challenge. Let's compare it with the Honor Magic 8 Pro Air and its 50-megapixel main camera. Looking at the primary camera first, Honor does have a slight edge in a few scenes, but indoors, the difference is surprisingly small. And now comes the test I was most curious about: the telephone camera. The dual-wing camera is clearly a step above a standard 50MP setup. Indoors, it can even beat larger main sensors in certain scenes, while staying comfortably ahead of smaller 50MP cameras. As for the telephoto lens, it trails Xiaomi by a small margin, but still performs far better than most compact 50MP telephoto cameras. Now let's take it outside, where lighting is much better. This is where things get interesting. Using the main cameras again, the gap in detail becomes much smaller than it was indoors. The dual-wing system still delivers sharp, crisp photos. The only flaw I spotted was a minor mistake in recognizing a license plate color. Aside from that, the results are excellent. Switching to the telephoto camera, the performance is seriously impressive. Colors, including the license plate, look accurate and natural. Face recognition from a distance also works surprisingly well. It still doesn't quite beat Xiaomi, but it's very close. Against the Honor phone, though, the difference is much bigger. OPPO captures noticeably sharper main camera shots, and its dual-wing telephoto camera easily outclasses Honor's telephoto camera. Now for the real test, 10x zoom. This is where it goes head-to-head with Xiaomi. Even before cropping in, the images look fantastic. Zoom closer and Xiaomi still keeps a slight lead. Remember, OPPO is shooting at 25MP in its default high-resolution mode, yet it still can't fully match Xiaomi's 12MP output. Different sensors and focal lengths explain that, but overall, OPPO still delivers an impressive result. Let's push it even further with 30x zoom. Honestly, I was impressed. At this size and price, it's hard to find a phone with better telephoto performance. Yes, Xiaomi still has a small advantage when you zoom all the way in, but the gap is surprisingly small. After shooting plenty of samples, it's clear where the Find X8 Pro stands. Its camera sits between a regular flagship and a true ultra, making it feel like a semi-pro device. I say that because the main camera still isn't on the level of larger sensor Pro models. I couldn't compare it directly with the Find X9 Pro or Vivo X300 Pro, but one thing is obvious. Its high-resolution camera depends heavily on lighting. In low light, it loses some of its edge. In bright conditions, though, it captures outstanding detail. So calling this a full micro-ripple camera system isn't completely accurate. Still, it's a clever feature that grabs attention instantly. The final question is price. At around 5,000 to 6,000 yuan, it faces tough competition from other flagship phones already selling for similar money. But if the price drops, this phone becomes a much more attractive buy.